Hello and welcome, RTI Distributors. My name is Vincent Bova, Director of Dealer Experience. I want to thank everyone for taking time out of their day to catch up with us on the U3 water resistant remote. I'm joined by Robert Lawton, Director of Product Management, Jim Koenig, National Sales Director, Angel Madrid, Director of Business Development in the East and Central Eastern regions, and Jonathan Dawson, Director of Business Development in the Western and Western Central regions. So that makes me the least important person on this call. We're here to talk about the U3 water resistant remote control, which we're really excited about. And Robert's going to join me in talking about some of the features of the remote control. First, let's talk about the status of the U3 and some important notes. First, pricing and SKU details have been sent, so make sure you're up to speed on all that information. And of course, if you don't have that information, please reach out to the salespeople. They could get you assisted there. We've allocated units available to purchase. And I just want to emphasize that the U3 is at a great price point. It's a great add-on accessory for any project in indoors or outdoors. I also want to make note that everyone ensures that they have an ample supply, an ample supply of the ZB Pro, which is necessary to wirelessly sync and update firmware with this device. We're going to be speaking to this in the rest of the webinar. So just we'll make sure that you're taken care of, and we can guide you in making sure you have the proper inventory. We have a dealer announcement planned for 121, and with that announcement will come all the links to the webinars and training and programming and all the other assets that go along with this control. So let's talk about the evolution of the U series remote controls that have always been water resistant. As you can see, each generation has a lot of different look, a lot of different features, but it's only the U3 that we have today that helps us with the current technology. Robert, dealers have been asking for a new generation water-resistant remote. What kind of technology is available now that wasn't available when we released the earlier remotes?
Yes, there's been a number of technological advances, but two major areas that have improved are in battery charging and displays. And that helped us to generate the development and design of the U3. One of the things about the U3, and we'll talk about it later, is the fact that we want it to be waterproof, so we don't want too many connection points. So it was difficult finding a way to make that the charging of the battery. So the big advances in inductive charging have been a huge help to us and enabled us to make a much better designed remote than we would have done a few years ago. The other thing has been the electronic paper display. You commonly see that in e-readers. It provides a much better form of display that can work in bright conditions such as direct sunlight, and it has a very low power rating of how it works. And then there have been a number of improvements in waterproof sealing techniques. So in combination of all those things, it's really helped us to design the remote that we would like for this time of, for this period.
Great. Thank you so much, Robert. There's been a lot of demand since we discontinued the U2 for a new remote to take over. So we're really excited. I really believe that dealers are excited as well. Case uses, let's talk about where you see these in different situations. Obviously, like we discussed before, this is a great add-on solution. So if a dealer is doing a project in any situation, chances are one of these applications is going to be in use as well. Pools, patios, spas, the bathrooms and the kitchens in the home, any room in the home actually where any simplified control is required. And then you have the commercial hotels, gyms, studios, bars, and restaurants, even recreational vehicles and yachts that can really allow this remote to shine. Again, anywhere where you need a simplified control experience. Robert, do you think the U3 will be popular in indoor applications? What are some of the applications you think would be ideal for the indoor use?
Definitely an indoor use, and that's one thing we're going to try to promote. A lot of people think of this as when you say waterproof remote, they instantly think pools and things like that. but it has so much more use, like as you mentioned, with like bathrooms, kitchens, anything indoors, like, and definitely in the hotel kind of region. And we made this like so that it can comfortably be used in any environment that has water, whether it's outdoors or indoors. And don't just think of like just water environments as well. It's like think of dirty areas that would require the remote to be cleaned regularly that you wouldn't normally do on something unless it had that waterproofness. And then it's like thinking also it's like of our current COVID situation, which a lot of us like have been wiping down surfaces regularly. This is ideal, it's like especially with some other features that it has of protection against other chemicals, that it works really well in the garage, kitchen, anywhere that kind of even maybe has dirty situations.
That's an interesting point with the pandemic because, again, a lot of people are cleaning these remotes and they're not using the right solutions or they're worried about how what they could use. This remote is pretty durable in that respect. Let's talk about that durable design. So with this remote, we achieved an IP66 rating. We'll talk about that in a bit. This remote will actually float in water. It's chlorine, fungus, and dust resistant. So, no need to worry about the remote deteriorating over time. And because the remote is completely sealed, and I mean completely sealed, we've allowed a really water resistant situation where you don't have to worry about any openings or anything like that. And my favorite feature out of everything is the ability to use this device in direct sunlight, which is really a joy. I always find that using the outdoor, phones and tablets, as good as they are on a sunny day, they're kind of useless. Robert, what is the IP66 rating, and why is it important for us to achieve that rating?
So technically, IP66 refers to meaning it has complete protection against dust and what they call protection against powerful water jets. But if you think of it in simple terms, like you can just feel that you rest assured that the U3 will work in a variety of environmental conditions, whether it's subject to dust, dirt, splashed with water, or even thrown in the pool. You've mentioned that it floats in water, so due to its sealed construction, you can throw it in the pool, it will float, you have no worries at all, and there will be protection against integrity for folly operations, like a no ingress of water or dust or anything.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Let's talk about some of those features. As Robert was mentioning before, unlike our other the predecessors for this line, this technology has come around recently. Well, a lot of it has, such as the EPD or electronic paper display screen, which is very similar to those e-readers you see in the market, allowing you to look at this thing and see it in its detail in direct sunlight, which is really important for remote control. Up to 2 to 3 months of battery life can be expected with normal use, which is phenomenal. We use a wireless syncing method with that ZB Pro, which we'll be talking about, because the remote is completely sealed. There's no openings, there's no way to plug in a cable. So that wireless syncing is a really convenient option. And the remote will require an XP processor to use and take advantage of two-way feedback and one-way communication, or a combination of both. So that's more in depth. We're going to go into that with the dealers in the regular programming courses, but this remote has some unique communication abilities, and again requires that RTI processor. The inductive charging is a great feature that dealers have been asking for a long time. It's Qi compatible. I've used my remote with a Qi charger, and it works really well. So that inductive charging is a great experience. Um, Robert, many of this technology is new, especially the RTI remote controls. What were some of the challenges in bringing some of this technology to life with our controllers?
Well, so when we were identifying what we wanted the U3 to do, so like in the environment that it was in, the features that you see are the ways in which we were able to combat some of the problems that we found in that environment, such as you mentioned mentioned the paper displays, it is difficult to read a display when it's outside. So we had to find a technology that would work for us. We tried many different kinds of displays to get the one that would work the best for us and give that really clear visual. And also being an electronic paper display, that enabled us to have a very, very low power drain. It's like, because it only actually works when it transitions from words like on the screen. So very, very efficient display. And then with the battery life, it's like we were also very conscious of like figuring out how to extend the life of this battery, because the remote it's a different kind of application than some of our other remotes. Normally, it's like you replace them back to the docks like pretty regularly, maybe once a day or so. But with this remote, it potentially could be sitting outside by the pool and kind of sit there for many, many weeks. And people just wanted to be able to pick it up and work right away. So that was a big challenge for us to figure out how to do that. And then all the complications of water will get in anywhere. So we had to really think hard about the sealant and how it's all put together. And then, as you mentioned, so figuring out we didn't want to put any connections on there because we didn't want any points at which like it could be a problem site for the water getting in at any way. So that's when we went to inductive charging. So all of those things combined together were a big challenge for us. And as you say, so it was something that we hadn't done as an RTI, but now we have this available so that we can maybe implement in future products.
That's there's certainly some great features. The 2 to 3 month battery life is something I can attest to. I don't think I've charged my remote since I charged it the first time it came out of the box, and that was about a month ago. So, it's pretty amazing to have a remote control that you can expect that battery life from. Let's talk about the unboxing. I'm going to leave this to Robert. Robert will explain some of the accessory pieces and what you can find in the box. So take it away,
Yeah,
Robert.
it seems like when you look at this picture that we have a lot of components to it considering it's a simple remote. But when we were looking at what we wanted the remote to do, there's so many different applications, like whether it's in a bathroom, in a shower, or whether it's outside in a pool, and each different application required a different way of mounting it or some way to lay it down. So we wanted to create as much variability site for this as possible. So you can see we have the regular reference guide that gives you the information about the remote and then the remote itself. And then you have two mounting docks. So one of them is a charging dock. So that's the one that you use for the inductive charging. And then the other one is a passive dock. So there's no electronics in that, but it's used like if you just want to place it in there. So if it's maybe in a wet environment, such as by the pool or in the shower, you can then use something to place the remote in and not have any issues with like electronics interfering with water or anything. And then you also notice we have two what we call clip-on dock holsters. And those enable you to use the docks either in the vertical or horizontal position. So if you have it in the horizontal position, you don't use that clip. If you have it in the vertical position, you use the clip to hold it in place. And it works kind of like the phones, like when you put them on the wall. And then we have the usual international power supply to go with it.
Thank you. That's great. Okay, we're going to move on to the programming features. Now, it's important to know that when we designed this remote, we, besides having a very simplistic look and feel, we also wanted to make sure that it was programmable in minutes and had very easy programming. So we'll give you the 16 programmable hard buttons. And as Robert was alluding to, with the pandemic and everything going on in the world and people being more conscious of keeping things clean, we didn't put all these thousands of buttons on it to make it complicated and have to worry about cleaning it. So it's a very simple experience by just what you see here. All the commands you need to do automation with music streamers and anything else. We also believe that a remote control in a cinema experience can be a man's best friend, but when it comes to indoor and outdoor recreation, a remote needs to be simple and not take away from the enjoyment. So this remote definitely fits the bill. There's a built-in source selection menu that will display all your activities, and that's built into the remote. No programming required. We support some bitmaps, which you can use for screensavers. It comes with battery level and Zigbee connection icons, so you're always in the know of your charging and signal status. And it's programmable in ID9 or Apex with the processor required and that ZB Pro, which is required for wireless syncing. Remember, that's sold separately. So we want to make sure everyone is equipped with enough inventory to handle the demand. Let's talk about the ZB Pro while we're here. And again, this is required because that remote's completely sealed. However, this is not the only reason why an RTI installer or dealer should have a ZB Pro. It's also used for other important functions like building Zigbee repeater networks in larger projects, even medium-sized projects. So if you need to build out your Zigbee repeaters, if your project can't support one single antenna, you need this to calibrate that second and third repeater. So necessary. Essential tool for Zigbee troubleshooting. So if you get into problems with Zigbee on the field, if your environment changes or you need to kind of reset things, you need that ZB Pro to reconfigure. So it's a really important tool for RTI dealers. Of course, it's needed to wirelessly sync and update firmware on the U3 remote. And it simply plugs into that USB port on your PC or laptop. Again, if we can help you with any type of, anticipating the demand for the ZB Pro and managing it with the remote orders, contact our salespeople. They're happy to help you with that. And while we're here, let's talk about some of the sales takeaways from this remote. Again, the U3 is an ideal add-on sale for every RTI project. A guy walks in, he's buying a couple of remotes. Well, this is great. You're using a remote in the kitchen? How about a remote for the backyard? A lot of people are resigned to apps, but this remote's going to give you a much better experience outdoors where you can actually see the interface. And remember, outdoor projects are kind of getting designed now. They're in the early stage, but this is the perfect opportunity to get in before the rush. So it's a great time of year to specify that type of remote control. We've talked about making sure you have an adequate supply of ZB Pros, and processors are going to be required too. So always good to have. Programming can be done in a few minutes. This is not a situation where you have any complexity at all. You don't have to worry about taking any more time than a few minutes in programming. And as an add-on accessory, if you're selling someone a music streamer, outdoor speakers, or any type of other type of device that would complement this remote, it's a great add-on. So just a good sales opportunity. And of course, outdoor and indoor applications. Okay, well, thank you so much. We're happy to take any questions if you want to type them in the Q&A window. There's also a chat window. So whatever your preference is, feel free to fire away with any questions you have. We're happy to answer now or after the webinar as well. And of course, if you don't have any questions now or maybe later, we can always take them through email. So what's the price point on this remote? Do we have a price? I don't have the prices in front of me. I know it's somewhere along the lines of $350. I don't even know because there's international here too. So we'll get back to you, Eric, on that as well. That's Eric Meyer. We'll get back to you on pricing for the products and as well as all the SKU information as well. Okay.
So hey, can I back you up there for a sec, Vin?
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, just to let all the guys know, we sent out pricing and part numbers and all that good stuff literally yesterday and today. So that should be in-house with your purchasing department.
Great. Thank you. I kind of figured, I thought that stuff went out. I wasn't sure what the timing was. So everyone should have that. Of course, contact either John or Angel or Jim if you don't have that information, and we can get you sorted. So again, simplicity is what we're going for here. We want reliability. We want an experience like no other outdoor or water resistant remote that's ever been in the market. And we think we've hit on all cylinders here. Um, so thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your business. And we look forward to working with you if you need anything in terms of design help or any other assistance. Give us a call. We're always at your service. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.